Welcome to Welcome to Butterflies of Wisdom, everyone. And today I have Dr. Camille Preston with me. She is a psychologist and a leadership coach, which I'm really excited to find out how those two myths, I should say. And so without further ado, I'm going to let Camille take it away.
Fantastic. Well, I'm excited to be here with you all today. As you mentioned, I'm a psychologist, and the work that I do is really helping individuals, teams, and organizations ignite peak performance. So it's bringing the psychology, the neuroscience, and then just a lot of practical wisdom of having worked with leaders for over 15 years to help people rethink how they organize their day, reimagine how they tackle challenges, and then reclaim a life that actually not only feels great, but creates great.
That's awesome. That's awesome, by the way. For those of you who don't know, and then I'll get back to Camille, I have hemiplegia cerebral palsy. So my brain was lucky enough to rework itself with therapies and with a ton of love. Thank you very much. But always the brain and psychology has always fascinated me. So that's why I'm so fascinated by what Camille's doing. And so when you say, Camille, helping people organize their day and not only have great days, but produce great, what do you mean by that?
Sure. So there's this idea of flow that was first identified by a Hungarian psychologist, Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, in the early 70s. And what Mihaly did is he interviewed people who were not just productive, but were innovating on things that were mind-boggling, amazing artists, musicians, engineers, etc. And when he asked people what was happening, they described this state of being in flow, where ideas would come together and spark new ideas, and they would almost lose themselves in the process of creating something great. And when he first identified this concept, Mihaly described it as the most magical and most elusive state. And what's really interesting is now, with the advances in neuroscience, we can understand the psychology and the neuroscience of what's creating that peak performance. And then we can start to think, how is it that I reorganize my day so I spend more time feeling great, creating great? And it's been really inspiring. I joke that I'm first the guinea pig, second I'm the author of this book and the kind of idea person. Everything that I've been doing, I've been literally practicing on myself, testing with clients before I'm bringing this out into the world.
Well, isn't that cool? Now, what does working out have to do with having a great day, basically? Working out, when people don't work out, they don't seem to have a great day. Does that have something to do with the endorphins in your brain?
Yes, that's a great question. So what we know is that flow begets flow. So if I get into flow, I have two young kids. My daughter will be 2 next month, and my son will be 4 in June. And if I can, I know they're busy. It's really fun. A lot of times I will put them in the stroller and I'll take them for a run. So then if I can get into flow while I'm running in the morning with them, I'm chatting with them. We're counting squirrels. We're counting puppies. We're watching for trains. I then am more likely to get into flow at work, because what we know is that flow begets flow. The more you experience flow, the more easily you can experience it. And so as you described, a good workout in the morning is a great way of activating the body, igniting our best self, and getting ourselves fired up for the path going forward.
Or I have noticed with my own personal experience. When I take a break, and yesterday, took a break in the middle of the day, I went to the gym in the middle of the day, and do you know what? I had the most productive afternoon work-wise that I had in a long time because I felt good. And so this is proof, you guys, what Camille and I are saying. If you can work out in the morning, that's great. If you can take a long lunch break and schedule a workout as a meeting with a personal trainer, that's even better.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It doesn't matter necessarily what you're doing as long as you're getting out and active. What you're also suggesting is something that's really important to peak performance, which is toggling your intensity of focus. What I see too often is people come to the office and they sit down and they work, rather than work with intensity and then step back. So scheduling a workout is a way of breaking that up and really shifting your brain chemistry to be your best.
Yeah, exactly. Shifting the brain chemistry to be your best. I love it. So, okay, what is your favorite book that you can recommend to all my listeners? Now, it doesn't have to be a business book. It just has to be a book that you go back to time and time again.
Yes. So I was thinking about this, and one of the books that I'm finding most fascinating is by a gentleman, Casper van der Meulen, and it's called Mind Lift. And he's a really interesting guy. He used to be kind of burned out, overweight, frustrated, describes himself as a little depressed. And he started studying a gentleman on how to breathe. And he talks so powerfully about the importance of breath and the things that you can do to build your own capacity and your own resilience. And for me, this is a book that I keep finding myself picking up because we're living in a world where we're so busy, it's sometimes we can justify not doing things because we're so busy, but we're all breathing. That's something that we can do all the time and any time. And he weaves that in so powerfully with this idea of proactively cultivating resilience. And it's just inspiring.
Mind lift, you said. I heard you. I'm just repeating what you said, not because I didn't tell you. I'm just repeating so that people that listen to this at the gym, thank you very much, have a sense of what you just said. And can Mind Lift be found on Amazon?
I believe it, yes. It absolutely can be.
Yeah. Okay. Mind Lift, I might have to pick up a copy of that book myself because now I want to get better in my brain as to have better days. But what is your favorite podcast if you have one?
You know, it's interesting. Before we go there, you just triggered something in my mind. One of the things that is that okay? I wanted to mention this idea of procrastination because I think when you think about peak performance, so many people are excited about it and they want it, and yet they find themselves procrastinating on it. And it's an interesting idea because procrastination can actually be one of the most powerful and energizing tools that people start to use to help themselves get better and perform in a more effective way. And I'm thinking about what you described as the gym. And what I find is that there's so much shame for people who procrastinate. And I spent a lot of time thinking about how do you turn that on its head? How do you get procrastination to be a strength or an asset rather than a weakness? And so if participants feel or listeners are tuned into the fact that they might be a procrastinator, I would invite them to visit my website at createmoreflow.com/procrastination, because there's a wealth of resources I put there that are designed specifically for people who want to make changes but haven't yet been able to do it, with some tactical strategies for how to turn on the volume and jump into action.
That's awesome. That's awesome that you're saying use procrastination as a strong point, not as a weakness, like I'm going to get my homework done so quickly, it's due in 24 hours, that type of jazz.
Yeah, absolutely.
Use it as a strong point, because procrastination could be a good thing, it could be a bad thing. We're just trying to make it a good thing.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yes. Exactly. We're trying to make it a good thing. Now,
in terms of podcasts, I'm a big fan of Tim Ferriss's podcast. He is so personable, and he is so focused on being his best self. And I just feel like every time he brings someone on, it's a really interesting, compelling investment of my time.
Speaking of the brain, he did an episode with a guy that did amazing feats underwater, and I thought that was amazing for the brain. And so if I could remember the name of the episode that Tim Ferriss did with this famous Swede, and I know he was from Sweden, and I could put it in the show notes for you guys.
Is it a Wim Hof? Wim Hof?
Yes.
That's the person the book that I mentioned Casper studied with from Mindless.
Okay.
Wim Hof is amazing.
Thank you. We've got it. Wim Hof. Go listen to the Wim Hof episode of Tim Ferriss.
It's amazing.
You guys. It's amazing. It's amazing. Talk about brain chemistry now. Yeah. Thank you.
So for people who aren't familiar with that, Wim Hof and Casper both think about how do you use your breath to change your neurochemistry, and they talk about breathing for the state that you want to be in rather than reactively for the state you're in. So it's this is where the resilience comes in, and the ability to build your capacity before you need your capacity. It's really powerful.
Yes. So where can people find you, and how can people work with you? Do you do Skype? Do you do in person? And we'll have all your information in the show notes.
Sure. The work that I'm doing on igniting peak performance, you can find me at createmoreflow.com. I'm Camille, Camille, at Create More Flow. You can find me at Camille Preston on LinkedIn. You can also find me on Twitter at Camille P. So those are some of the great resources. We have a wealth of resources on the Create More Flow website for people who are interested in figuring out how to create more bandwidth to focus, tackling procrastination, really leveraging preparation. And we offer trainings, coaching, keynote speaking that we would love to share with your audience.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. Speaking of brain chemistry, I think my audience would really like this episode. And as Camille and I said, go listen to the Wim Hof episode of Tim Ferriss. It's not boring, it's actually fascinating. And this is coming from a young woman that had her share of challenges with the brain due to CP. And so, as I said, the brain fascinates me. But before I let Camille go, I want her to ask me two forward questions that she has in her brain, and it could be about anything, Camille. And you guys, I think we lost Camille.
Oh, sorry. I had sorry about that.
That's okay.
I had coughed and I put it on mute and I didn't tip it.
Oh,
I'm curious.
Geez.
What is the most inspiring thing that you have learned or experienced from running this podcast?
From running this podcast. Learning things about other people that I didn't know. I am fascinated with the work you're doing with the brain. I am fascinated by the work other podcasters are doing because I'm always trying to improve my craft. So that is the most fascinating thing. I'm always fascinated by interviewing people and learning what their strengths and weaknesses are.
That's awesome. And we can all learn from both our strengths and our weaknesses.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
I love the quote that adversity reveals character. It doesn't build character. We all have that character.
We do.
I'm curious, what is the thing that you're most inspired to create in this next quarter of the year?
My book. I'm working on another book, and I'm excited to have it come out on Amazon, even though I'm a six-time published author, internationally best-selling author, and yeah, so I'm excited about my book.
Oh, that's exciting. What is it called?
It's called The Mosaic of CP. It's going to be the accompaniment to my original book, Icon of Win, which you guys can find on Amazon.
Fantastic. Well, I will look for that. And it's quite an accomplishment to finish a book. Having birthed two babies and birthed two books, the babies were actually easier than the books. So it's a hard process. Congratulations.
Yes, believe it or not, birthing a book, you guys, is so difficult.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Camille, for saying congratulations.
My pleasure.
And so, you guys, I hope you guys enjoyed another fabulous episode with Dr. Camille. And as you know by now, we will have all the information in the show notes. And as Camille said, go listen to that podcast episode of Tim Ferriss's podcast with Wim Hof, and you'll find a fascinating podcast there. It will hold you for about a good hour. At least it did me. I don't know about Camille. But we will have Camille's information in the show notes. And this podcast has been sponsored by Grace by Grit. Grace by Grit is clothing line out of California, and they're giving you guys 20% off on any athletic wear on their website. And so if you want to feel good and boost your brain chemistry because you feel good, please do so. The information will be in the show notes. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you, and have a great day.